Let's just get this bad boy started. It's your boy Calix Boxing here, Calix Boxing 2.0. You are tuned in live. Always doing this live, freestyling it. Just caught some news that Canelo, he was with Dan Rafael being interviewed, and some news coming up with that. Also, some news coming up with Manny Pacquiao, man. Make sure you go on my Twitter. My Twitter is Calix Boxing 2. Calix Boxing 2.0 is the channel, and calixboxing.com coming this weekend. It's going to be unraveled. Let me get this ring light up. There you go. There you go. Y'all can see this beautiful face. Calixboxing.com will be rolled out this weekend, man. Very much looking forward to that. Very much miss writing, and look forward to that, man. Let's get right into Canelo. Pause. Canelo, man, the heavy hitters are back. Canelo's back. He wants to be active. Manny Pacquiao says he's coming back in 2021. Looking forward to seeing who that's going to be. My instincts tell me that it's going to be one of the Garcias. There's 3 Garcias possibly in the running. So more on that in a minute. But let's start with Canelo. Let me get this comment section up in case somebody pops up, man. I'm doing this as D-Style's doing his show, so a little bit of counter programming, but this is the only time I could get it done. If anybody pops up in the comment section, for all of you catching it in the archives, man, make sure to comment in the comment section below so I can get to y'all as well. And I appreciate all the support, all the new subscribers. If you hop in, man, hit that like button. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section. Any questions y'all have, any comments, I'll roll them out here on the screen and answer them and comment on them and whatnot. But I appreciate all the subs I've been getting as well. So much love, man. Much love. Good to be back. Still getting my sea legs back, man. Still a little ring rust, but I'm knocking it off. Canelo. How can you not love this dude, man? How can you not love this dude? He's doing an interview with Dan Rafael, and we already knew he fought in December. Fighting is mandatory in February, and he wants to fight a title unification in May. But he confirmed with Dan Rafael, which was my suspicion, and that was that he wants to be the undisputed champ at 168 before the year is out. Got to give Dan Rafael credit for this interview and getting this information out of him. And not only that, wants to fight 5 times in 12 months. He just fought in December. Going to fight again this month. Wants to fight again in May. Wants to fight again in September. And wants to fight again in December. 4 times in 2021 calendar year. Coming off of a fight in December of 2020. That's old school. That's old school, and that's what we need to see in the sport of boxing. You got to love it. In the era of inactivity, in the era of top fighters fighting once or twice at the most per year, possibly 3 times every blue moon, you'll see a top fighter fight now. You have a guy leading the way, leading by example. The cash cow in boxing. The pound-for-pound champ in boxing, saying, follow me, follow my lead. This is how it's done. This is how it's supposed to be done in boxing. Stay active. Fight the best fights. Get the crowd going. This is what they want. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing to see fighters do this. We've been begging for it as fight fans, and you reward fighters like this by showing up. And by praising these guys, not praising the guys who fight once a year. Somebody, I think it was Steve Kim, threw out a comment on Twitter saying that Canelo's going to fight as many times in 12 months as Gary Russell Jr. has fought since 2015. I mean, just think about that. Just think about that. So the next time you try to give praise to an inactive fighter, just think about Canelo. This is a guy who doesn't need to be doing this, right? He's a guy who can take lighter touches, take it easy. You know, he's got a huge built-in fan base. Going to make a ton of money no matter who he fights, no matter how many times he fights. But Going to fight 5 times a year. He's not only going for money. He's not only going for the fame. This guy is going for the legacy, and you got to love it. You got to love it. He's going for the legacy as well. Think about how much money he's going to make this year, though. If he's fighting 5 times in 12 months, woo, that boy's going to be making some money. He's going to be making some money. But how impressive would it be in May and September? Those are 2 perfect weekends for him. How impressive would it be if he goes on that run 5-0 and not only goes on an undefeated run there, but he becomes the undisputed champion at 168, super middleweight. This guy who was a natural 154 pounder coming in to boxing would be his 3rd weight class where he is a legit champion. I think he won a belt at 147 that was sketchy. I think that was the Matthew Hatton fight, right? Or maybe that was at 154. Matthew Hatton was. I don't remember what it was, but maybe he won a welterweight title there that gives him 4 weight classes. I'm not sure, early on in his career, but he has 3 legitimate claims to legitimate titles in 3 different weight classes. 154, 160, 168. So just think if he unifies 168, becomes undisputed, does what Teofimo Lopez did in 2020. However, he would do a lot of the legwork in winning the titles and becoming undisputed at 168. Not to knock what Teofimo did, because he came out in the middle of a shutdown when nobody wanted to fight, and beat Lomachenko, a guy that nobody wanted to face during the shutdown. Didn't have to do it, and won that fight. And it was a tough fight for him to win, and he did it. Not too many people believed that he would do it, so you got to give him credit. But Canelo could come out and beat Billy Joe Saunders, call out that guy, beat him in May, win another title, and then unify again in September or December against a Caleb Plant. Or who knows, maybe a Benavidez, fight that one. But for him to go on a run like this at 168, super middleweight, a guy who, let's be honest, a lot of people thought that Canelo would be maybe too smallish for 168. Maybe guys would be too tall and too naturally big for him. No, man, he fits in well at 168. He fits in very well at 168. Very, very well. He matches up well with taller fighters. He can dig into the body. The combination punching is beautiful. The crisp combination punching this guy puts together, mixes offense and defense together as well. Very underrated as a defender. And almost undervalued as a fighter, even though a lot of people can consider him a pound-for-pound champ, the cash cow. He is the cash cow. That's undisputed, but sort of undervalued, it seems to me as well. And more on that in a separate video. But I just wanted to touch on how this guy is active, because, I mean, just think of when's the last time you saw a top-notch fighter of this class? This is a top-notch fighter in general, fight 4 times in a calendar year. Doesn't happen often. And this guy is going to possibly do 5 in 12 months and 4 in a calendar year. And he's Canelo. Just think of the energy that's going to give boxing, the energy that will inject into boxing. This sport is good when it's run from the top down, when the best fighters are active and the best fighters are challenging themselves to become great. Teofimo led the way in 2020. Canelo is clearly leading the way in 2021 and saying, guys, let's get this sport going. And how awesome is that, coming off of 2020 when the sport was pretty much dead in 2020? It was one of the sports that lagged behind. Football, basketball, baseball got it going and somewhat going in this shutdown. Boxing, not really, never really got it going. UFC got it going, but boxing never really got, I felt, its feet off the ground. And Canelo saying, let's do it. Beautiful. Who's the best fighter at 35? Time GT4. Teofimo right now. I can't argue anybody but Teofimo at this moment, just because Teofimo is the challenged guy. He went in and took the challenge at 2020. He deserves that crown. Devin Haney hasn't been tested yet, so I can't say that. Tank Davis, if you count him as 135 or 135 pounder, hasn't been tested yet. Hasn't fought top opposition yet. Same with Devin Haney. Lomachenko is up there still. I'm not ready to throw him out the mix, but Teofimo beat him. Ryan Garcia still hasn't tested himself at that top level yet. Very good win a couple months ago. Very good win, but still needs to take another notch up. Nobody's done at 135 what Teofimo did in 2020 and beating Lomachenko. Was a healthy dog in that fight. How do you predict Teofimo versus winner Taylor Ramirez? That's another story. 140. 140. I want to see how he would handle those bigger guys at 140. But I'm still of the thought process that I want to see him continue at 135 for 3 or 4 more fights. I don't know how he'll handle the weight. I don't know if he'll outgrow the division and he'll have to move to 140. But at 135, I want to see him defend these belts that he has and take on the other top challengers, because 135 is too much of a talent-rich young division for him to just move on to 145, I believe. I want to see more of him at 135. I want to see more of him there. And I hope that he defends these belts and fights the other top guys at 135. But sticking with Canelo real quick, man, it's just a breath of fresh air to see a guy to go for legacy, especially when this guy has this built-in fan base and has these built-in paydays already, no matter who he fights. And of course, he's going to get more money the bigger fights that he takes, but he could take easier touches and still make a ton of money and still be towards the top of the pound for pound divisions, pound for pound division. But he's going for legacy. He's going for legacy. He could have from what I understand, DAZN was offering him fights like these weird fights, like he was going to fight UFC guys. All right. And just take money there, easier fights. And he turned them down. He said he wants to fight real active fighters, real active boxers. And he wants to fight the top active boxers. And he's already beaten a top 3 guy at 175 in Sergey Kovalev as well. All right. And the Golovkin fight is always going to be there. If Golovkin wants to move up to 168 or fight at a catch weight, this guy has a ton of options. He's not afraid of any of them. Not afraid of any of them. I remember when people were saying that he would never fight Golovkin. He fought him twice. And he got the best of him in that second fight. So this guy is setting himself up well. I think he's only 29 years old. That's the other thing. Still in the prime of his career. He's setting himself up well for his legacy now. He's already set himself up well for the money aspect of it, but the legacy, it's all working out for him because 168 is a perfect division for him. He matches up well with these guys. He loves fighting taller fighters. And these guys, when you step up a weight class, they're not as quick. So the lateral movement isn't going to bother him as much as it did when he was fighting at 154, fighting guys like Erislandy Lara, Austin Trout. So he matches up well at 168. Now let's get into Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's coming back. He said he's going to add to his legacy, come back. And look, it's hard to believe that it's been a year and a half since he beat Keith Thurman. It's incredible. Incredible what he has done already. He's already had like 4 or 5 different careers within one career. So now he's going to try to add to that. And I'm hearing it's going to be one of the Garcias, whether it be Ryan Garcia, hopefully not. I want to see Ryan Garcia fight top opposition at 135. I want to see Manny Pacquiao fight top opposition at 147. Like I said in the article that I dropped last week, this is the year 2021. I want to see this be the year of the unification. Top guys in each division fighting each other for the top 4 major belts. Use those 4 major belts, 4 major sanctioning bodies As much as we hate belts and sanctioning bodies, use that as a blueprint to get the top fights, despite all the politics. And I want to see Ryan Garcia stay at 135. I want to see Manny Pacquiao stay at 147. Enough with getting cute. So possibly Mikey Garcia is in the mix. Possibly Danny Garcia is in the mix. I just want to see Pacquiao back. If he fights a lighter touch in this fight, so be it. So be it. Just get active again. I'd like to see Pacquiao fight twice in 2021. I'd like to see that happen. Even at 42, 43 years old, I think he matches up well. You could argue that he's the third best welterweight in the world right now at 42, 43 years old, whatever he is. 87,000 fights into his career. That's how great the guy is. So I want to see it. He's coming off of a win against Keith Thurman a year and a half ago. That was his last fight. So we can't write him off. He's getting a win against a top 5 welterweight. We can't write him off. What should Charlo's next move be? Says, yes, sir. I don't know, man. I want to see Charlo fight the top guys at 160. I'm hearing that he's calling out Canelo. And then I heard something as well about he's saying he's only going to, I don't know if that was, I don't know which Charlo brother that was. I believe that was the middleweight Charlo saying that he would only fight guys who were 25 and younger and guys who were vaccinated. So that's the stuff I don't want to hear. I just want to see guys get in there and fight. Why are you limiting? What's up, Lance Mayer? Why are you limiting yourself to guys who are 25 and younger and guys who are get vaccinated, and then calling out guys who are 25 and older and not vaccinated? So I mean, dude, I just want to see Charlo active. First and foremost, I've said for a long time, I don't think he matches up well with Canelo. I don't think he's active enough. 25 and older, but you're right. Okay, so 25 and older. So I thought it was 25 and younger. Regardless, I don't think you have to fight a guy who's vaccinated. There's enough testing going into fights now that, why you have to fight a guy who's vaccinated? This was a reference to Benavidez. Look, I'd love to see Charlo versus Benavidez. Anybody versus Benavidez. Benavidez is another one. When's Benavidez going to fight somebody? When's he going to fight somebody? All right, I want to see Benavidez is a super, super talented guy. Super talented. I want to see him in the mix at 168. But there's so many matchups to make at 160, 168. Why not make Golovkin versus Charlo? Let's make that fight. And I'm not saying Charlo's ducking that fight because I've heard a lot of references to Triple G pricing himself out of those fights. So I just want to see the top guys fight at 160 and 168. That's all I want to see. What's up, Chris Sepulveda? I'm bad at pronouncing names, man, so my apologies. But I want to see the top guys fighting each other, man. There are options for Charlo at 160 as well. Hopefully the politics don't get in the way. But some dream fights that I'd like to see, Golovkin versus Charlo is one of them. I want to see, the reason I don't like Charlo against Canelo matchup-wise is because I don't think he's active. I don't think a guy who throws 30 punches around is going to be able to beat Canelo. I just don't. I think you have to be more active in the ring, be an activity fighter to be able to steal rounds from this guy, especially when you have at least, what does history tell us? You have at least one judge who's going to vote for, who's going to score rounds for Canelo regardless. So you have to be active in there. And you're not just going to load up on punches and try to set up punches and knock out Canelo. You're just not. The guy's got a hell of a chin. He's fighting full-fledged 168-pounders and even a 175-pounder. So if Kovalev's not knocking him out, I doubt that Charlo can knock him out. All right, but I wouldn't be mad at Canelo versus Charlo. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't be mad at Charlo versus Bubu Andrade either. Wouldn't be mad at any of those fights. Charlo versus Billy Joe Saunders. Charlo versus Caleb Plant. If he wants to fight at 164, they do a catch weight, or if he moves up to 168, it seems like Charlo would be open to that. But let's get those top fights at 160, 168. That's all I want to see. I want to see the best fight the best. Whoever Charlo wants to fight, I hope he gets it. And we can see where Charlo ranks up there with those top guys. Because we need to see that now. We need to see those fights. We need to see the top fights at 135, especially. We need to see the top fights at 168. 135 and 168 are the two divisions I'm really looking at right now. 147 as well, another sexy division. But those are the three weight classes I'd say I'm really have my eye on that I want to see those top guys fighting each other. That being said, man, that's going to wrap up Calcast 3, man. I appreciate all y'all coming on. Hit me up on Twitter. Man. Calix Boxing 2, if you're on there. Hit that sub button and the like button, Calix Boxing 2.0, man. I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. And CalixBoxing.com is rolling out on Saturday, so check that out as well. Some nobody named Boo Boo deserves a Nello fight. That's a fair point there. But that before I wrap this up, man, it's another interesting thing with Andre, and I heard that they announced a fight with Andre as well, and I heard it's a good fight. So he's another one, man. Like, I want to see him step up because he's so talented. As an athletic guy, super skilled. I want to see what happens when he gets hit by a real fighter, like somebody really tests his chin. What would his boxing ability be then? But Andre's another guy, man. I want to see him step up. Hopefully 2021 is the year of the boo-boo. A boo-boo stepping up. Man, I just want to see these guys be successful, man. I want to see them all be successful. I want to see them all fight the top fighters. I want to see them all get money. Lord knows, man, you get punched in the face a lot, you deserve to get paid. So I want to see all these guys be successful. But first and foremost, as a fan, as a boxing fan, I want to see the top fights. Give me the top fights. I'm going to appreciate the guys who give me the most of that. That's why I appreciate Canelo. I appreciate Pacquiao. I appreciated guys like Carl Froch when he was fighting, Timothy Bradley, all those guys who had no problems testing themselves. That's the guys that I appreciate in the sport. Hopefully we get Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, but more on that on later videos, man. I am out.